It's Saturday, June 16th, and the Giants lose to the Dodgers a game they really needed to win. And now they are we'll see if they lose any more ground tonight, but this is Giants Roundup. It's Saturday, June 16th, game 2 of 3. You can follow on Twitter, join the Crook and Kite page on Facebook, and please be kind and hit that subscribe button. And yeah, this was really a game the Giants needed to win tonight, and now they're going to need to salvage a game, and who knows if that's going to be any better when they play Miami. They didn't play great against Miami last time, and the Bats have been AWOL since the National Series, so that's got to change too. I mean, this will likely be the last game they will have Brandon Crawford available, as he will go on maternity leave starting on Monday against the Fish. So they're probably going to be bringing up, unfortunately, Kelby Tomlinson. I would have actually preferred them to call up Ryder Jones. I think he's done well in Sacramento this year. And I certainly think he could have gotten a look, if nothing else, to showcase his trade value. But this is certainly one that the Giants definitely needed this game, and they didn't get it. And and now the pressure's on Chris Stratton to get a quality start tomorrow, as now they go as they try to salvage a game before playing Miami, who it doesn't matter what year it is that they always have issues playing the Marlins. And right now, their record against the NL West is not good. I'm going to look that up right now. But I'm going to look at the standings. And I'd like to see if they have anything that shows divisional record. I don't see anything on divisional as of right now, but I'd like to figure out if they have a. There we go, versus the NL West as against the division. Giants are 3-4 against the West. Maybe not against the West, but 16-19 against the West. So that's not great at all. LA is 21-18 against the West. Arizona is 20-10 against the West. So as of right now, the Giants are 6 back, and this is not 2010. Arizona's no fluke. LA, they found their rhythm, and I don't even think the wild card's an option this year. I'm going to take a look at that. I'll take a look at that too. But I want to see the wild card stand where they stand against. All right, currently the Giants are 5 games out of the wild card, and it would be Chicago and Washington in the wild card right now, with the Cardinals and the Phillies the next two. And LA's 2 back of the wild card now, so 1 game back of the wild card at this rate. So the Giants, their room for error is almost starting to become slim at this point. And that series against Miami is really starting to come back to bite them in the ass. And this is probably the worst possible time to see Brandon Crawford has been cold. The last few games, I don't think he's 1 for 8 in this series. Posey 0 for 4 today. Belt 0 for 4. And they only got 4 hits. You can't win games when you And then Bruce Bochy makes a get to that in a minute. This loss was not. Bumgarner was not great, but he did okay. He wasn't. It wasn't a quality start by any means, but it was. It was. I would say a fair. I'll say fair on. I will say it was a fair start for Madison Bumgarner. It wasn't his best stuff, but unfortunately, it was the homers that killed him tonight, and he just did not get the run support tonight. The Kemp home run, that Kemp and PK Hernandez kills us again tonight. You can't score more than one fucking run per game if you want to win. And this is the time to make a run. Alex Wood and yeah, Bumgarner walked 4 batters, but most part he was able to. They were able to get double plays out of it. They found a way, and they did strand 7 runners, which was the Giants stranded 7 runners, 0 for 5 with runners in scoring positions. That is not good. The bats need to get it going and soon. And if Arizona wins tonight, the Giants will be 6.5 games out of first. And Miami and San Diego's are not going to be gimme series either. If they lose those series, the Giants are going to be in trouble. You forget about waiting for players to come back off the disabled list to help make a run. Now you're talking about possibly being a seller. You could be 1 week. Giants could be 1 week away from becoming sellers at the trade deadline. If they're not careful here, and it might be time. And I question, and I think Bochy made a questionable pinch hitting decision in the 6th to have Hunter Pence pinch hit for Baumgartner. Why didn't you go with Austin Jack or Nick Hundley? But Pence has not been that great since returning from the disabled list. And maybe you consider trading Pence for a bag of baseballs, retain most of his salary, maybe see if Houston can bite, maybe move him through the waiver wire. Uh-oh. Murphy's Law. And we got my dog is bark. But no, this is Matt Kemp goes 2 for 3, and this is the downside of him appealing his suspension. He's taken out his anger on the Giants in the series. But tomorrow, Stratton's got to be good. It's looking like as of right now, the Giants aren't going to lose too much ground on the division. But the Wild, it's starting to look like they'll be tied for 4th with Colorado. But we're starting to unfortunately get some separation between the Giants and the Dodgers and the D-backs are starting to get separation. And all of a sudden, every series is going to be must win. The Giants, I don't think they can come back from 10 back or so. But if they lose the next 2 series, it's seriously time to consider becoming a seller and embrace the culture change that the front office doesn't want to do. And that is going to be tough. That is going to be tough if Larry Baer has to embrace culture change, and it might have to happen. And it might mean trading players that fans like. And maybe I think the guy you trade is Brandon Belt, unfortunately. I think Belt could be traded. Hunter Strickland could be finding himself on another team. Sam Dyson could have some trade value. But at this point, I really don't see the Giants. They have not proven to me they're a playoff team this year. And if you can't win games within your division, you're not a playoff team. And it's going to be hard to see a rebuild, but I think it might be time to rebuild. If you can't beat the Miamis, you can't. And San Diego, they're playing with house money this year. Next two series is going to be critical, even though they're kind of bottom feeders. But San Diego's not a fluke. But most important, they can't afford to lose tomorrow's game. They could potentially be in last place by next week if they're not careful. And it and you know what, Giants fans, they're spoiled with winning, and this is something, as I've said, this is the same story I've seen with the 49ers through the good years of the 49ers when the Niners were making playoffs just about every single year during the years of George Seifert, Steve Mariucci, and Bill Walsh. Then one day the Yorks took over and the winning stopped, and the fans just got spoiled of it, and it hurt. And then losing culture comes in, and you had the lost decade of the Niners after that, and fans just didn't know what to do after the winning stopped for the Niners, and it's been rough since, except for the Jim Harbaugh years. But the Giants, if they're not careful, they're going to find themselves where the 49ers were in the early 2000s. And it might be time to tank. You could see 2019 become a tank year. And it could be time for Larry Baer to consider things he's never had to do before. Possibly fire Bobby Evans. I think he'll be fired if things don't turn around. You may have to hope that Bumgarner can. And that's the thing too. Bumgarner needs to. The last couple months are going to be critical if the Giants do have to go through a rebuild. They're going to need all the prospects they can get back for Bumgarner. Because I don't know if Bumgarner wants to come back to a rebuilding Giants team. And Joe Panic, he could be gone. He could be moved at the deadline if things don't turn around. But the Bats need to get it going, and one possible solution they may need to consider with Hunter Pence just not being the answer. And I think realistically, with Hunter Pence, what you may have to do is bubble wrap him. Maybe you just let him relax on the disabled list for most of July and then have him rehab, quote unquote, rehab in August and bring Hunter Pence back for one last hurrah in September. Unless you do want to maybe trade him through the waiver wire and try to get a bag of baseballs for him while retaining the majority of the salary. But I think maybe give him the type of farewell the Giants did with Matt Cain last year, where you just let him sit in the dugout on the DL. And I think that's what they may have to do. Pence has been more of a liability than an asset this year. And I think it might. And Austin Jackson, maybe he serves a niche against the lefties. But I think the realistic option for a fourth outfielder is down in the minors. I think at this point you might have to call up Austin Slater. I think your best option as a fourth outfielder is Austin Slater at this point. Slater can certainly hit for average. He can give guys a day off. And if Mac Williamson's not too terribly careful, Austin Slater could become his platoon partner. But Pence is just not been great this year, and I don't think Pence is going to be good anymore. I think Pence is going to be retired after this year. So, and I just don't know if Pence has it anymore to be in the Pence is just hurting that is doing more harm than good right now, being with the Giants, and maybe he can be a presence in the dugout on the DL, but he should not be playing right now. I just don't see it. His roster spot is better used for Austin Slater. At least Slater can get you some hits and get on base, and that's what you need right now. We also need, and tonight Williamson actually didn't do too terribly bad. He didn't hit a home run, but he went 1 for 2. He got on base 3 times tonight, so that was good. I think Williamson's starting to turn a corner, and getting Belt back, it's going to help. It's going to help, and hopefully it'll get the home runs up a skosh. But they can't sit on the pot anymore and wait. The bats need to get it going, or realistically, I could see Austin Slater up with the Giants some sometime on this next homestand, and that's how I feel. You could be back up on the next homestand, and if Slater comes up, I think he's not coming back down. But if the Giants fall out of it, if say they start falling 10 games or more back, I think after the trade debt, sometime in August, we see Steven Duggar make his debut in a Giants uniform. I think he still needs a little seasoning down up in Sacramento before getting called up. But if the Giants do fall out of it, we do see Steven Duggar come up and get showcased. We'll find out a lot about Steven Duggar if he does get called up. And I think also though it could spell the end of Mac Williamson if he does not turn around if Duggar comes up, because then I think Gorkis will move to left field. The other good news though is that they are getting is that by the end of next week we are getting Jeff Samardzija back, and hopefully he will be more in rotation form. But he looked a lot better in his last start last night, so we'll see how he does. He's got one more start in Sacramento before returning being activated. So certainly we'll get him back by then. Then I think probably certainly Derek Rodriguez probably goes back to Sacramento by then. But yes, do we need a good outing out of Stratton tomorrow? That no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But also, I think it's time for. But also, Bumgarner needs to cool it with the umpires. This is how players get fined and suspended. Is you don't want to be starting shit with the umpires every single game. You get a bad reputation with the umpires, and that's how you get fined and possibly even suspended. And certainly think that's something Bochy needs to have a chit chat with. And that's another thing that could be happening. This could be the end of. And yeah, Dan Bellino, his strike zone was not great tonight. This is not a good umpiring crew. Adam Hamari, not a good umpire. Phil Cousy, I don't know who put this. Yeah, this crew is not a good crew on this. So, but I would have liked to see Bochy gone in there and get himself tossed. But realistically, though, that's another thing that could be happening if the Giants don't turn around. These could be the last games of Bruce Bochy as the Giants manager, as he could just really realistically decide to part ways. He has nothing really left to prove, and we got the 3 rings. I don't think they're going to be contenders anymore. Well, I think it's just maybe time for him to ride out in the sunset at this rate. But enough about that. Let's hopefully get a win tomorrow. It will be Chris Stratton against Caleb Ferguson. So the Caleb Ferguson will make his major league debut. his second start with the Dodgers. Definitely wants to rebound there, and it'll be Stratton against Ferguson tomorrow before the Giants head home. Let's go to the MLB Roundup for today. The Yankees beat the Rays 4-1, taking the win. Ryan Yarbrough taking the loss. No, taking the win. Luis Severino, 8 scoreless innings, 9 strikeouts. Ryan Yarbrough takes the loss. 3 2/3 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. Jake Bauers goes 2 for 3 for the Rays. And Giancarlo Stanton hits his 16th home run of the year. And they weren't done yet. Gary Sanchez goes in there and hits one out of the yard right after him. And now the Yankees improve to 46-20 on the year. And in Chicago tonight, the White Sox lose to the Tigers 7-5, taking the win. Buck Farmer taking the loss. Jace Fry. Nicholas Castellanos goes 3 for 5, hits 2 home runs in this game for the Tigers. Jordan Zimmerman returns from injury, gives up 4 earned and 5 innings pitched. Lucas Giolito, 5 earned and 5 1/3 innings pitched for the White Sox today. Stay hot, Houston Astros. They win their 10th in a row against the Royals, 10-2. And this is a quality start. Dallas Keuchel needed 6 scoreless innings. Taking one on the chin today, Danny Duffy, 6 earned and 6 innings pitched. Whit Merrifield goes 2 for 3 for Kansas City. Marwin Gonzalez goes 3 for 4 for the Astros. And Keuchel gives up 2 unearned runs. Okay, it's not. He did give up some runs, but they were just unearned. And Birch Smith, 3 earned runs in 1 inning pitch for Kansas City. And at the Coliseum today, on the other side of the bay, the A's beat the Angels 6-4, taking the win. Sean Manaea taking the loss. No Ramirez, who gives up 3 earned in 1 inning pitched. Chad Pinder, 3 for 3. It's his 6th home run of the year. And Manaea looked more like the ace today. John Lamb in his debut today, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned. As it was definite changes for the Angels today as they made a flurry of roster moves to correspond with the injuries going on with the Angels right now. Eduardo Paredes called back up today. Jake Jewell called up. Both pitched today. And in Baltimore today, the Marlins beat the Marlins beat the Orioles 5-4. And the Orioles lose their 50th game of the year already. They are on track, on pace to lose 100 games, maybe 120 games at this rate. JT Realmuto goes 3 for 4 and hits 2 home runs. Adam Jones goes 3 for 5 for the Orioles today. And Alex Cobb suffers through 5 innings, gives up 7 innings, gives up 5 earned. Taking the win, Wai-Yin Chen. And the Orioles have lost 9 in a row, and it wouldn't be surprising if they get swept by the Fish tomorrow. We see Dan Duquette get fired after this series, or if Buck Showalter is fired after this series. But I think somebody's getting fired after this series if they get swept. And in Pittsburgh tonight, the Pirates beat the Reds 6-2, taking the win. Ivan Nova taking the loss. Luis Castillo. Austin Bryce gives up 3 earned and 1 inning pitch for Cincinnati. And in Arlington tonight, the Rangers beat the Rockies 5-2, taking the win. Jose Leclerc taking the loss. Harrison Musgrave, who gives up 3 earned runs without recording an out. Shin Shu Chu goes 2 for 3 for the Rangers tonight. And Kyle Freeland just wants to probably punch Hunter Musgrave in the face after that one. And in Toronto today, the Blue Jays blank the Nationals 2-0, taking the win. Marco Estrada taking the loss. Max Scherzer, who was great, just did not get any run support. 10 strikeouts, 2 earned. Estrada 6 2/3 scoreless innings for the Blue Jays, and he might have some trade value at the trade deadline for Toronto. Devin Travis 2 for 3 for the Blue Jays. Michael Taylor 2 for 3 for the Nationals. The Phillies beat the Brewers 4-1, taking the win. Zach Eflin taking the loss. Junior Guerra. Rhys Hoskins goes 3 for 4 for the Phillies today and hits his 9th home run of the year. Boone Logan gives up an earned run in 1/3 of an inning pitched. And in Cleveland tonight, the Twins clobber the Indians 9-3. Taking the win, Matt McGill. Taking the loss, Carlos Carrasco, who leaves the game with an injury. And that would be costly to lose Carrasco to an injury. Eddie Rosario goes 4 for 4 for the Twins today. Lindor and Ramirez hit their 21st and 16th home runs of the year. Rosario hits his 16th home run of the year for Minnesota. Fernando Romero not good today. 3 earned and 4 innings pitched. Tyler Olson 2 earned and 1/3 of an inning pitched. And it got so bad, Brandon Geyer came in and pitched the 9th inning for the Indians today. So you know the bullpen's bad when a position player comes out to pitch. And Geyer put up a scoreless inning for the Indians today. And in Atlanta today, the Braves blanked the Padres 1-0, taking the win. Sean Newcomb, who pitches 6 scoreless innings, taking the loss. Jordan Lyles, 7 innings pitched, gives up an earned run, just did not get any run support. Charlie Culberson goes 2 for 3 for the Tribe today. Hits his 3rd home run of the year, and that was the difference maker for Atlanta. In St. Louis, the Cubs beat the Cardinals 6-3 and now are just a half game back of Milwaukee. Taking the win, Kyle Hendricks. Taking the loss, Sam Tuiavala gives up an earned run in 2/3 of an inning pitched. Yairo Munoz goes 3 for 4 for the Redbirds. Marcell Ozuna hits his 10th home run of the year. Addison Russell hit a rare home run today, along with Jason Hayward. In Seattle, the Mariners beat the Red Sox 1-0, taking the win. Wade LeBlanc taking the loss. Stephen Wright. And Wright, another hard luck loser today, gives up 1 earned and 7 innings pitched. Just did not get any run support. Edwin Diaz with 27 saves on the year for the Mariners. He would be up for that Rolaids Relief Award if they still had it. And in the bottom of the eighth, the Mets lead the Diamondbacks 5-1. Nick Ahmed's 2-for-4 right now. Brandon Nimmo 2-for-4. Devin Mesoraco 2-for-4. Michael Conforto 2-for-4. And Conforto hit his ninth home run of the year. And Patrick Corbin gets roughed for 5 earned runs in 6 innings pitched. Strikes out 7. Steven Matz just excellent tonight on the mound. 6 2/3 innings with 1 earned run. And tonight down on the farm, the River Cats lose to the Baby Cakes 4-3. And Slater and Duggar both go offers tonight. Ryder Jones 2-for-4. Orlando Calixte 2-for-4 with his 9th home run of the year. Daniel Camarena takes the loss, 4 earned in 5 innings pitched. Taking the win, Sandy Alcantara. Tyler Rogers, 2 scoreless innings. His ERA is down to 1.57. And Scott Van Slyke was ejected tonight. So bad umpiring in the PCL tonight, too. Javi Guerra gets the save. Ray Black is a scoreless inning, so the bullpen was good tonight for the River Cats. And the River Cats fall to 33-36 on the year. And the Fresno Grizzlies continue to pull away with the PCL Pacific Division, beating the Round Rock Express 6-1. They improved to 41-27 on the year. Miles Straw goes 3-for-5 for the Grizzlies tonight. Jack Mayfield hit the home run tonight for the Grizzlies. Trent Thornton, 8 scoreless innings and could be a trade chip for bullpen help at the trade deadline for the Astros at this rate. And it looks like Fresno is going to pull away to win the division at this rate in the PCL. And as I say, the Giants, this is the time to make a run. It starts tomorrow. They cannot afford to get swept by the Dodgers. They need to win this game, get some confidence, and take care of business against the Marlins and the Padres on this next homestand, or it could be game over. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a good night.